Alright, well, so I'll talk about my problems. Of course, there's a lot of problems in this country right now, aren't there? And kind of all over the world. Certainly all over the Western world. But yeah, different problems, different places. I can't really speak too much on what's going on over in foreign land too far because I don't know. I'm at least to some extent. Let's just say I'm not the most trusting of whatever content I see from areas somewhere far away, like what's staged, what isn't staged, what's real, what's not real. I mean, you can kind of make some assumptions, but you don't really know what's actually going on thousands of miles away from where you are, especially nowadays with the level of advancement of like CGI and AI and all the, Hollywood freaking. I mean, they're pretty good at. They got everything they need to make fake shit look real and so on and so forth. All the mouthpiece pulpits to push this narrative or that usually tend to. I think they control the vertical and the horizontal, basically. Like the fucking Twilight Zone. Do not attempt to adjust your set. Or, no, wait, that was, was that the Twilight Zone or freaking Outer Limits? Has it been that long? Do not attempt to adjust your television. That was Outer Limits. Yeah. Alright. Control the vertical and the horizontal. Yeah. They control the left wing and the right wing narrative. Yeah. The bird flaps both its wings and puts on extra wings like a costume and flaps them around too for the most part. They call left wing and right wing. Every wing in between pretty much, I think, probably. Mostly. Not saying that goes for everybody, but I mean, I don't know who to trust on. I mean, when you see somebody saying all the right things and they've got thousands, tens of thousands of people subbing to them and manage to keep going on for you, I don't know. I'm not saying that the people that managed to get big followings necessarily sold out or something, but maybe a certain number of people are chosen whose maybe their beliefs are kind of limited to a certain amount of information that they've taken in. And maybe, the powers that control the be or whatever want to make it look like there's still free speech out there to some extent. So they leave a certain number of people who are like, they get like the G pass or whatever to say what they want to great extent, some more than others, and some to a lesser extent, perhaps. If they just shut absolutely every voice that was too far into the truth down. Well, that would be obvious to absolutely everyone. You would think. Or at least to anyone who has any intelligence. But if the people hadn't followed this sort of content before and a bunch of the top voices about certain things were just gone, maybe they wouldn't know that they were ever there to begin with, but they would assume that somebody else was the top voice. I don't know. Well, okay, here's what I'm saying about the censorship is like, look at, check out, like when you see videos of people that are like have some sort of interesting perspective a lot of times, or that seem to be, know what's going on, especially the ones that are able to get a bunch more followers, go look in their comments section. And see like a bunch of people in the comment section don't have any videos, or if they do, like they get probably deleted, shut down, content gets freaking scrubbed, I'm not saying they're not scrubbing other people's content, I'm just saying I believe that they have enough control over the internet, and have had for I don't know how long, but quite some time, have had enough of control over the internet to silence pretty much anyone they wanted. But they don't want to be too... I don't know. Or maybe it's just like, you could say it's, oops, or whatever, the algorithm, only lets us... Maybe it's just like a controlled algorithm that only pushes certain random... Maybe it could even be random, for fuck's sake, Hey, random algorithm chooses, you're allowed to have this many super truthers, or, this and this many, anarcho-capitalists are allowed to speak, and only this many of, this group is allowed to speak, or something. The rest of the algorithm just like, nope. I don't know. I could just be a way of like, trying to make it continue to appear that freedom of speech exists on the internet and so on and so forth, right? I don't know. I'll tell you, I mean, you could say it's just like random, but I would guess there must be a lot of like some sort of NDAs or something in effect, or something, or some sort of threats that were taken seriously, or I don't know what, like, but there was a lot of people out there with channels and stuff that, I mean, some of them got in trouble and got locked away or whatever. Others just sort of disappeared off of the internet, especially, well, first in like a couple of years, 2008, and a couple of years following, and then kind of all along the way more people drop off, and then like right before 2015 or whatever, like huge amount of people just kind of fucking went dark or whatever. Yeah. And then like the ones that were left seemed to have, in certain areas you'd see a lot of lockstep sort of behavior, Like, this is the narrative you are allowed to speak on now. Independent thought will not be allowed now. I don't know. To an extent, I mean, like, You go back, way back to, 2008. Wasn't that when, like, Ron Paul was trying to run the first time? And he was doing real good. People were being silenced. The Dem Nom went down kind of funky. And so did the Republican one. It all just looked rigged, I mean, at the time. And just an observation. But yeah. I mean, here's what I don't understand. What gets me, like, now I'm talking about politics instead of my own personal stuff. My own personal stuff comes down to this for the most part. Like, I need to form relationships and find good people. Find my, people are like, it's kind of like a mantra almost about it. Like we gotta find your people, man. You gotta find your people. That'd be handy. And find your spirit fam, bro. And the cost of living is ridiculous. The houses are fucking ridiculously, astronomically overpriced. The rent is astronomically overpriced. Almost most places, if not almost everywhere. The wages are not so great. Like, the idea of just getting ahead, like, the American dream wasn't just to, like, be stuck in some apartment paying for the rest of your life for some shit you'll never own. It wasn't meant to be something that was only available to fucking millionaires and, People should be more bothered by the housing thing, the inflation of housing. There's this little thing called, let's see, what was it? Oh, come on. Come on, brain. I thought you were functioning. The, Dewey Decimal System? No, that's not it. Yeah, right? No. That's way off. But that would have been helpful. No, there was a law to basically keep bankers and investors from using housing as like a lending tool and stuff like that, And Bill Clinton got rid of it. Yeah, so that's what started the inflation is, it's being, houses were not supposed to be considered like, assets on the stock market and holdings for bank loan and thing, to the extent that they are now. Basically it's land and homes have become more of like an institutionalized financial tool now to manipulate the markets and stuff. For them to drive up pricing to ridiculous levels and I just remembered I have another phone here. I could look that up. Since my brain doesn't want to cough up the information. It's in there. It's a little dusty. Alright. A lot of files there. What the? Oh. What the hell is this? Trying to remember what the heck that. Come on now. Do. Bill Clinton. Uh, Come on. Slow shit. They're gonna show me a huge list. Well, if it does that, I can just pick the one from the list when I see it. Glass-Steagall. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, there's issues with housing costs, just affordability of living. I mean, biggest expense is just having somewhere to sleep, having a roof over our head, somewhere to go to the bathroom, somewhere to cook, just a place to live. There's a time in this country, trailers for sale or rent rooms to rent 50 cents. 2 hours of pushing broom buys a 8 by 12 for rent room. Man of me. No, that was true at the time. That a couple hours of pushing broom would buy you the fucking room, or rent you the room for the time. A lot of ways to go back further. The fucking higher standard of living people had. I mean, person could argue the technology and the luxuries that we have now make that not true or something, but well, okay, hold on. Let me ask you something here. If you could choose between if you had to give up your internet connection and your smartphone and maybe have a little less variety, of food, but the food would be real, and you'd have a big house, a nice big yard with the orchard and shit, would you give up your smartphone? How about your car? I don't know. I don't feel like you even have to give up your car, honestly. We had stuff like that while there was cars. But, I mean, in like the early 1900s, go check out Sears catalog houses. You can find pictures of the ads for them online. That's from about 100 years ago. $5,000 or something for like a Prince of Bel Air, Fresh Prince of Bel Air mansion or something. Less than that, actually. There's ones way better than that for that month. Probably like $1,000 or $1,500 for something like that, like the one in Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Live in a fucking house like that. Or if you were more poor in the time, like even coming up into the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, if you were poor, you weren't go later into time, Now we're talking say 50, hell 40, 50 years ago or something. I can speak on that because well, I've asked people personally and looked up things and a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, You go fill up your gas tank for like practically nothing, like for the amount of time you have to put to fill up your gas tank. Like you said, you could go all over the place, and like everything was way cheaper. If you wanted to rent a place, that was way cheaper. If you wanted to buy a place, that was ridiculously cheaper. I mean, there's probably shit going for like $1 million now that you could have picked up in the '90s for like, 5, 10 grand, 20 grand, you know. That's like that would be like up to like mid to late '90s. You could fucking, you know, or if not like absolutely, definitely in like the you know '70s and '80s. That's fucking lily. But you could still do it in the, I would say, '80s and '90s, depending on where you were. Mm-hmm. And what kind of standard. I mean, I don't know. I imagine 5 grand would get you something like, depending on what time period. If we're talking '90s, 5 grand might have got you like a mobile home with a half an acre of land that maybe needs a little bit of repair or something. Maybe you'd even own the, I'm talking maybe even own the land that it sits on and shit. We go back further, like into like say mid '80s to mid '70s or any time before that. You could walk in a farm with like 3 or 4 or 5 acres, or give or take, 2-story house and a barn or something, and pick it up for like 20 G's or something. You could get good deals with the banks to freaking pay low payments on a mortgage, and people start building credit scores earlier in their lives. It's just a lot easier to fucking deal with. They were handing out money like it was fucking candy to these credit cards and shit. And yeah, they got normal jobs. They had lower payments to pay off. They worked hard. I'm not saying they didn't, but they got the American dream, as it was still available to them, even if they were pumping gas or digging ditches or shoveling horse shit for Farmer John or whatever, They were returning carts to the grocery store or counting cans in the back of the grocery store or something, and be buying a fucking 2-story house on a few acres and starting a farm or something, That's what I'm saying, like this. I mean, for fuck's sake, we're talking like, and this is like a lot of people like manage to do this with like, high school or high school dropout education. They just busted their ass at some shit and made a life. That's the history of like a lot of my family. But I just don't think that sort of thing exists, at least not in the same way that it did then. I don't think I could just go, go be a grocer and not without, I don't know, if you were able to like really, 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 really know your shit, and you got your, you'd still have to go to college or something to get some kind of fucking degree, and some shit or something, probably, to be able to like even be boosted up to upper management or something. If you worked your way up the fucking corporate grind to the store you're working at or whatever the hell. I mean, definitely have to go get like manager train. I don't. Yeah. Yeah, with a managerial position in a freaking store or something, you might be able to make enough to start like slowly paying off a. Eh, dude, no, houses now are like a, you know, $500,000 or $1 million, depending on, and upwards, you know, most places. Pay out the ass just to get a mobile home in some lot that you had to pay a fee every month for. And whoever owns the lot could just sell it right out for sell the whole place, and some big corporate interest comes in, buys up the land, and says, "Oh, you got to move your trailer," or they just take it and fucking steal it legally. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But hell, I guess you own land, they could fucking try to pull eminent domain on your ass. Yeah. Or whatever else. You know, all kinds of tricks they have to get land. But it's expensive. I was ranting about something else and I managed to shift course of my rant back to this shit. I don't know, man. I really question the nature of our reality. I really, to the point where I don't trust what anything that's on TV or like a whole lot of stuff that's on the internet. Left wing, right wing, this, that, the other thing. I think it's basically all the same bird, you know? And the thing's ripping our guts out with its claws and plucking our eyes out with its beak, and its little freaking friends are like feasting on us and shit. Basically. It's like, rah, flap my right wing. Oh, now this side is happy. Flap the left wing. Okay, now this side is happy. You know? I don't know, man. Of course it looks like there's some serious political thing going on in there. So people, all these groups are really butting heads and they're really out to get each other, and, you know, well, do you believe in professional wrestling is like real in the real sense of the word real? I mean, I think that's basically what we're looking at. Like, is a whole lot of. I think what we've entered into an age like where in reality, like, you've got super billionaire. I mean, for one thing, you got super wealthy, like, essentially old world, like, aristocracy and royalty and shit in the top rungs of society and the controlling of, you know, the banking institutions and the governments and the media and fucking all this shit. And then you got, like, you know, they're also super wealthy people that are like underlings that work for them, that kind of manage all the corporations and everything for them. But like, you know, and that, you know, manage all the just the strings of the, you know, society, basically. You got your freaking, you know, social engineers and your psychiatrists. You know, you got you got people from all these different groups that are like kind of parts of machine. I hate to quote some, you know, this guy that's like a communist, but there's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You gotta throw your body on the gears, upon the wheels, upon the levers. You gotta indicate to the machine, you know, blah, 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 you know what I mean? The machine will be prevented from working at all, unless you're, whatever. I don't know how to remember the whole fucking thing right now. It just seems to me that I think what we're watching basically when we look at the news or whatever's going, we're being told about what's going on in society is a big, mostly staged performance or a bunch of performances. I mean, the same thing. Basically, it's like if you turn on your TV and you watch you turn on the news or you turn on a political debate or some, you know, major news agencies telling us about a war overseas, what you're probably really seeing is like, you might as well be watching Dancing with the Stars or like, you know, what, you know, Wag the Dog, you know. There's a movie for you. And it's probably all like a freaking production, I mean. I mean, I don't even know if like the narrative about like how evil the left is and all that and the sort of things they did, the fucking Island of Jeffrey and so on, and all the people on the flight log and so on and so forth. Like, that could totally be true, I guess. On the other hand, like, I mean, how freaking would it be possible that these people who, many of which their life careers have been convincing you that fake shit is real because they're actors and so on and so forth, and what we're seeing on the world stage instead of being news or the latest evidence that's dropped about this thing or that thing, and what keeps us at each other's throats is all just a big fucking Hollywood performance that's being put on to keep us divided and keep us arguing with each other about this thing or that thing, so that we never realize, you know, they distract one side with the puppet over here and the other side with the puppet over here, and the people back here look at the puppet over there and go boo, hiss, and then the people that like that puppet are like, fuck you, this puppet is better than your puppet's fucking stupid. No, my puppet's better. Your puppet's racist. Yeah. You know, whatever, right? Keep us arguing with each other and fucking divided and just fucking do it over and over and over again. And put on a freaking show, and it's like, you know, actors doing their part. The role of a lifetime. While the freaking, you know, real puppet masters are like sitting up in their castles, you know, or on their private islands and so on and so forth. Keeping us busy, you know, distracted, chasing after money, divided against each other, and fighting over which one of their puppets we think sings the sweetest. I like the way that puppet dances. I prefer that puppet much better. And so on and so forth. And they bring out all the puppets on their marionette strings and... Hey everybody, look! It's like freaking wrestling. It doesn't matter what his name is! If you smell what the Rock is cooking! You know? Stone Cold thumbs down on the other side. Oh yeah, I'm the president, bitch. You know, it's just the same. It's just that. Come on, man. But nothing ever can get solved. And they just keep moving further and further and further and further. You know, like, irreversible. If it's not already, like, freaking irreversible damage to the country and to the world. You know? And the people keep falling for this fucking divide and conquer shit, and I don't know why I'm fucking talking about this now. I guess what really matters, well, if anyone wants to have a world that's worth living in, you want the future generations to have a world worth living in, not want to consider how the one you're living in now is being burned to the fucking ground and turned into a shithole more. And, I don't know. I guess the people with money, are already seeing and doing stuff, but people who don't have a whole lot of money, that aren't in a better, financial position and position with so on and so forth or whatever, just kind of, we got to try to raise ourselves up. Say, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, So I got to try to fucking do it. Try to find some kind of damn way to make money in this society, since that's what our entire world is like. Give me control of a nation's finances, and I care not who makes its laws. Who was it? Rothschild. Nathan Amschild, the Rothschild, yeah. I mean, I got us by the balls here, All those people just trying to live our fucking lives, hoping to make our way to a position where we have a home and a place to live and a peaceful place to raise a family or whatever, Well, we got all these like psychos going around burning everything down. Or, well, psychos. It's like a giant marionette. You got like, if you want to say it's the devil on top or some ultimate king force of the world like that, or something like, some secret cabal meeting together in their fucking castle somewhere. The dawn of Earth, whatever and they're up there with their like marionette strings with the puppets dancing underneath them and a bigger group of puppets under them, and that's like the pyramid. It's like a pyramid of puppeteers puppeting to people below them in various different ways, and everything's like sectioned off and different things, so one hand does not what the other is doing, and you know, it's just like they've assembled a machine, the machinery of humanity, and all the various parts have been put together and organized in such a fashion so that the machine will function the way that they want it to function. So long as they keep the machine oiled and ideas and parts of the machine they want to function better, oiled with proper financing and sturdier parts and so on. You know, it's there's that 70s show, The Network, you know, talking about how like, you have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Beale. He's like, the world is a business, Mr. Beale. There are no nations. There are no countries. There are no hubs. There are, you know, there is no. Oh, there's only AT&T and IBM. You know. And he just lists off a bunch of corporations, and he says, "Those are the nations of today." Yeah, right. I mean, it's like that's basically. Hell, Abraham Lincoln spoke about the dangers of corporatism. Like him, you know. Well, anyways, yeah, that's pretty much where we're at here in this world. And I'm just trying to. I got a late freaking start at it, man. It's like I was delaying the fucking inevitable or whatever. And I'm still like. I've come to a realization basically that, like, maybe if I want to have a better chance, I need to find greener pastures, you know. And they get the fuck out of this area. This place has just gone to shit, you know. Living in the fucking, Midwest is what we call it over here. Oregon, Washington, fucking, all this stuff. I mean, there's beautiful lands over on this side of the country, don't get me wrong, but a lot of this country is just really falling apart. This would be one of those parts that's falling apart. From what I can see. Riddled with crime and poverty and heavy drug use and shit's overpriced. Everything's crowded. It's overcrowded, overpriced, riddled with crime and poverty, homeless people everywhere. Now I don't blame people for not having money to have a place, as expensive as it is to live. It's no surprise that there's more people that have problems. And it's not just the expense, it's the hoops you gotta jump through too. A lot of people, they say there's a housing shortage. The truth of the matter is they're just using a bunch of empty houses as like financial tool to boost their fake economy, leaving them, sitting empty to rot while they shove us in tinier and tinier little boxes from charge us more and more money for them. That's the fucking reality of the housing situation in America. Basically, the real estate market being used as a financial tool by the banks and massive corporations getting their fingers into the shit. It's just like, common people being priced out of living. Priced out of, moving up the rungs of society without having to sell their frickin' soul, at least. Water. Oh, I gotta get this stuff out of the freezer now. I gotta move this stuff where I have bottles of ice cubes instead of bottles of water to drink. Alright. So yeah, it's like, that's really the situation we find ourselves in here, I mean. And, I mean, it's a lot worse than that. There's a lot of things, like, people probably haven't even thought about, or if they have thought about it, it probably doesn't come to their mind too often. They just put it off their mind. But, I mean, like, look at the rise of AI, and the development of robot technology, self-driving vehicles, drone technology, so on and so forth. And think about it. How could all of your jobs be replaced? So maybe this sort of system that we're in right now isn't exactly economically viable for our freaking human survival anymore, right? Something ain't exactly right here anymore. If we ever allow the banks and the corporations that will grow up and thrown around them to take control of the issue of currency, our children will wake up will wake up homeless on the continent their forefathers conquered. Sound familiar? Anyone heard that one before? Yeah, right? I mean, and if we're gonna keep pretending like the fucking natural resources are so fucking scarce, maybe we should stop inviting every country in the world to come sleep in our spare bedroom. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm coming. Hey, you like me, right? Yeah? We good. We family. We good friends. You mind if I bring? I want to bring a few friends over to your house. You mind? I don't know. I only got the one room. Well, there's only like 500 million of them. I'll tell them to be quiet. Don't worry about it. Sound good? Mmm. Sure, I could sleep on my couch. No, I mean, that's what it's coming to me. Another reason for, alleged housing shortage could be, just saying, or resources needed for people that actually live in the country, come from that country. Good. Hmm? The foundation of our house has been eroded, as though it were built on sand and the water rushed in. I mean, yeah, this place has been people talk about. I don't know. I mean, I agree on the basic principle of the idea of self-defense and arms and things like that on the one hand, and on the other hand, hear people talk about revolution or civil war breaking out or whatever the heck. It doesn't do any good for people to just get all butchery with one another and then go right back to continuing to serve the people that they thought they were fighting against in the first place, because they're able to be good actors and switch their characters up every now and then, like the freaking Jones plantation, and you people don't know what the hell's really going on in the country or in the world, so you just fucking fall for their trap over and over and over again. Keep looking for someone to give the orders out to you or whatever. It's just... And what do you think? King Arthur's gonna fucking show up and... Oh, he's so virtuous. We can trust this one. The eternal wait for the Deus Ex Machina to come to our salvation. I guess that's what it'll take. It'll take... Well, I think if you're gonna hope for a God to come save you, maybe you'd have better luck with the God in the sky than a God in the machine. I don't know, man. means would be sort of shirking a personal responsibility to the people. Attend to their flock, and at times fight off the wolves. Or whatever you want to say. That's the pastor and the Patriot said there. I mean, this. I don't know. Does it come down to that? The world's going to go into more bloodshed madness. It's already kind of there, but not right out in the streets as much, depending on what streets you're on, I guess. It's crazy, I guess. See the Pacum Parabellum. You want peace, prepare for war. But I don't know. I mean, but if you don't know who your enemy is, assuming that you have an enemy, if you don't know at the higher level who they are, how are you supposed to fight them? I mean, you can wave your boomsticks around and go running off in a mad, procession to break things and tear stuff apart, but that doesn't do any good. Just cutting off your nose to spite your face. I mean, so if there was some kind of crazy stuff that broke out in the street or something, like, I think the only thing it would accomplish is to make even more of a mess, because people don't. It's just like too much madness and frenzy whipped up in people, and people don't even know what. I don't think, by and large, people on either side of the spectrum of, the wings or whatever, have really get what's going on. I mean, what was that Zappa quote? The show. Oh, come on, damn it. The show will go on so long as it is convenient. When it's over the curtain. Come on, let me see that. Slow internet. Come on. Slow thing. Brain could speed the hell up if it would be. Come on. Open. There we go. The illusion of freedom. God damn it. Slow fucking. Function. The illusion of freedom will continue as long as it is profitable to continue the illusion. At the point where the illusion becomes too expensive to maintain, they will just take down the scenery, they'll pull back the curtains, they'll move the tables and chairs out of the way, and you will see the wall at the back of the theater. Are you starting to see the walls or what? The approaching walls. I mean, I got an allegory for you. I don't know. Somebody's probably told a story like this. I don't remember ever hearing it, but I'm just going to come up with a story. I'll tell you a story about a king and his men, right? A triumphant victor. His people are surrounded by danger on all sides. Or so they perceive. He and his men have told them of this danger. So they build high walls around the city. And the people applaud as they march down the street. The people throw flowers. They clap and cheer the construction of this great wall and a big gate to guard the front of their city. Now the people sleep safe and secure in the knowledge that the king and his men will protect them. They believe in the justice and righteousness of this king. One day, the king decrees that commoners should not be in possession of weapons as crime has become rampant in the streets. In order to keep the community safe, all weapons will be kept at the official armory of the kingdom. And the guards shall be the only ones allowed to be armed. Many women sigh of relief. Look how we can reduce crime. It's been running so rampant. The dungeons are expanded. The king and his men continue to watch over the walls, march through the streets. The people find themselves paying more and more taxes. The king's men are rude. They steal and hurt the people, and the people don't try to rise up because they have no means. Many believe in the righteousness of this king. One day, the king and his men march to the walls. The gate is lowered. And the people inside find that they're prisoners within their own walls that the king has built around them. I'm just saying, The world's full of dangers. I see this especially. It's important that we all see the dangers around the world that are presented to us. We should notice the graver dangers that you face when you give a certain group of normal human beings a monopoly on force. With a monopoly on force, you can name monopoly on property, monopoly on freedom, monopoly on everything. This is, history. Too much power. Remember this kid going on and on? Was that some Charlie Chaplin film or something? Too much power. Too much power, That's I don't know, man. I mean, we'll think we can get to some kind of like Star Trek level safety or something. It just, of course, without even knowing like what the heck they didn't show that much about what the civilization down on Earth and other places was even like, but whatever. Right? It looked great. It looked good, right? I don't know. I never saw anyone on the Enterprise that was just like, yeah, I'm just fucking hanging out here, yo. Man, I noticed that Picard, the land where they had the, well, for one thing, he was fairly high ranking. His family sounded like they were some sort of nobility almost, and that the land where they farmed grapes there was theirs to begin with for multiple generations or something. So, I don't know. Freaking show, man. Maybe I just am not Trekkie enough to know all the details. I just wonder if you realize that, like, now I'm going to jump over to a Star Wars reference. In reality, as opposed to fiction, I would be more worried not about somebody in a looking like freaking Darth Sidious getting up there going, "Ye grant me supreme power, and we shall rule the empire," I mean, I'm not saying there's not people in this world that act like that, sound like that, and look like that and stuff. You're not gonna see that though. There's gonna be some dude in a flashy suit or something, or some guy that's just totally chill, laid back. It's like really good at giving speeches and talking to people and making everybody think he's cool and stuff. It's gonna be something like that, bro. Really good at slinging bullshit. That's the one you gotta really worry about, because people trust that one. I mean, we're in a country where it's not who votes that counts, it's who counts the votes. And I don't know. You got like Rick and rigged machines and AI getting its, all this crazy going on. I don't know. This place is freaking weird. I don't have anyone who feels like real family around here, really there for me or supportive of me. I don't know. To fucking find a way to do shit my damn self or whatever, I guess. It'd be nice to have like a partner. The female persuasion. With a similar vision for at least having some kind of decent freaking life that isn't gonna screw me over or whatever. Alright. Somebody that's actually loyal and fucking chill. Like, I don't know, I think I'm not the greatest freaking prize in the world as far as I can go. I've had problems with drinking and stuff, and I don't want to fall into that. But it's just, I hadn't got my shit together for years, but I do have a basic degree of intelligence, and that's, above, somewhat significantly above average. And figuring things out. I mean, I can see pretty clearly how if there was just at least given time and some planning, if I just had like if I had a wife or something that was actually loyal and on my side or something, like I can see pretty clearly how together, like with two incomes, even if they're low incomes, and with some planning, with what I know about, like what I now know about try to build a credit score and so on, and all the digging into freaking real estate that I've done in the last couple of years and stuff like that, that we could find a way to like be into a situation and however, how long it would take to get there, but would seem very achievable in that instance. More achievable than trying to do it all alone. Even just having that kind of like moral support there, you know, somebody that's actually on your side and that got your back, and if you're moving from one place to another, they got the other end of the box that you're carrying or whatever. Maybe they have some ideas of their own. Maybe they have some time where they can look up properties and land. Maybe they have some interest in learning about real estate and figuring shit out like I do. And, maybe one of us is out working while the other one's doing the fucking laundry, and, shit's getting done twice as fast and saving up twice as much money in the. 4 times if combined. from a logical standpoint, you know. I don't know, I hate just not having freaking people that know what the hell they're doing. And it's like the only people I try to ask for advice most of the time is like, because the only people that I have my circle to talk to most of the time don't know anything. I had a freaking, you know, I learned about building my credit score from basically a stoner that eats mushrooms and travels around living in the back of his car. He knew more about building a credit score and more about like real estate and business ideas and stuff like that than people in my family that live in big fucking houses with like 10 acres of land and shit, you know? I don't know. I think real estate's probably the way to go and figure that shit out. That's how you probably have a home and you bring in big money in the long run too if you want to become one of the people involved in what's happening around the country. That would be how to raise your fucking status. Maybe if you raise your status enough, you could make enough money to be able to try and do some things to help the fucking poor people that otherwise might have bought the houses that you managed to find for way cheaper than they could fucking find them. Yeah, if you had the connections and really knew your shit, you know, you could find, especially like these real estate people do, they get to know everything about it and the people and so on. Get good at networking with these people and they just do it as an investment sort of thing to have rental properties to begin with, and then they end up with people that are, you know, basically paying for the house while they use the equity to buy more houses and do the same thing. And they go buy themselves a big house with the money they're making off the rent that other people are paying. That's paying off the mortgages on the houses that they don't own in the first place, that they just took out loans for. Like, that's what the fuck. Or whatever. They just get rent from people to fucking find some cheap ass house somewhere for like $15,000 or something because they have the right connections. Let's say it's got 4 rooms. Well, either they rent out each of the 4 bedrooms for about, you know, $800 a month or something, or $1,000, or they fucking build more walls and make it so more people are stuffed in the house together, and they make a lot of money on. That's what's going on, man. Yeah. And that pays off the house completely, and they own that, and they own more and more and more, and it fucking allows them to get like use the equity and build credit by with the payments and so on and so forth that they're getting from the fucking renters or whatever. I mean, it's just, I think it's kind of a slimy industry overall, the way it's happened on such a grand scale, especially. But it's like poverty pimping or whatever, basically. But looks like that's what it's fucking at, though, basically. Get it on. And it might feel kind of bad more from a moral standpoint to some extent, but from a financial standpoint of being able to gain some kind of freedom, I imagine it would be nice to just be mostly able to sit back and collect rent checks from your renters or whatever and use those to pay off the houses that then become yours, you know. End up being able to do it again and again until fucking the thing, you know, you're living in your own big house and you own outright and you own fucking 5 or 10 other houses. People are paying you fucking for the rest of your life while you sit on your ass. That's what all these people are figuring out how to do. I think it's kind of crooked, but that's what's freaking happening. I'm gonna see where the fucking wind blows. You know? You get a lot further doing some shit like that than you would trying to fucking, work my way up really, many, many years. One day I'll be manager of this here grocery store. You know? Or I'm gonna be the manager of Burger King. You know, I think work your way up. Yeah, one day, one day you could be assistant manager of Burger King, right? You know, like I don't know. I just don't think that's where it's at. I don't think even a lot of other jobs, like more highfalutin sounding jobs, like even being a nurse or a phlebotomist or X-ray specialist or so on and so forth. Whatever job, even somebody probably working at a bank or something, unless they're managing a whole bank or something, probably doesn't make enough to as much as they would if they were doing like real estate investing or something. People showing up at the office every fucking day, like answering questions. Well, here you go, working behind a counter or whatever. People in more managerial positions and more professional types of positions like that, I'm sure, are making better money than your average person, but I mean, I might have mentioned in another video, I lived in this a place that was like even crappier than this before, and the neighbors next door were renting a similar type of situation. It was I guess, husband and a wife. I thought it was a husband and a wife. Some dude told me that told me that the chick was a dude or something. But never mind that. Point is, they were optometrists. And with both of their salaries combined, they're like, we're gonna rent a shithole in a shitty town. A room in a shithole in a shitty town, right? Like, that was their fucking... The damn, dude working for Hewlett Packard. And another dude was like a freaking leftist college professor. And they were renting, the same kind of crap I was renting. I'm saying, like, the normal path of career. I mean, I doubt. I've heard stories in comment sections and from people that I've talked to, just about like, I mean, a teacher's salary doesn't even fucking gonna get you a place that's yours. A lot of like jobs you would think would be, oh, that sounds like it'll be a good job. You just don't make enough to actually have anything resembling the American dream, really. Struggling paycheck to paycheck to fucking rent something that you'll never own, like. or to own something and rent the land that it sits on that you'll never own, that somebody could just snatch out from under you, basically. Either way, like, not optimal. But again, yeah, in a minute, there's all kinds of reasons to try and come fuck with your land or whatever too, though. But whatever, I mean, I tried and get fucking land and building that's on top of land that's yours, you know. That's the dream. Part of it. I mean, if I could just find a place where I could make decent money and cut my freaking living expenses significantly and start saving up more while I continue to build my credit score. And then I could see myself, even by myself, being able, you know, to go put like a real down payment if I could find a place where or I could find a place where, I mean, I hear stories of, you know, possibility of, you know, getting a mortgage if you can find a place that's cheap enough somewhere, which exists sparsely, you know, somewhat fixer upper type of shit or whatever. Maybe it'd be possible to be some place where your mortgage is cheaper than your fucking rent on an apartment or whatever. You know? And you're paying towards actually owning something instead of just paying and paying and paying and owning shit, you know? One of the things people don't realize about the cost of living, I think most people don't realize this sort of stuff about the cost of living, is that a lot of reason why the cost of living is so fucking high, the rent is, okay, when it comes to like actually owning a house, a lot of that is Glass-Steagall. When it comes to rentals, rental has been incentivized over ownership by renters that got uppity with slumlords and stuff like that or whatever. It's like people, oh, fucking slumlord ain't even come over here and fix my sink. You know? So that's why you end up having to, you know, and people that just trash places and so on and so forth. And, you know, the people who are who were renting places started bitching to the government, and the people who are, you know, own the people who, the owners of the properties and the people renting from those owners of the property were both going to the government bitching, you need to do something, you need to do something. And so they come up with like rules about all these, you know, policies, insurance policies you have to have for this, that, and the other thing. You have to this deposit for this and that, and all these agreements, and you know, it's like a big part of the reason why like places you used to be able to rent for like $50 or something, you're paying like $1,000 now, because now there's like government incentives and protections to try and get the landlord, you know, now the landlord's supposed to listen to you and come fix your sink when you bitch at him or something, right? Or supposed to come deal with mold if there's mold in the place, or you can get government agencies after. I mean, yeah. It's all the litigation and stuff that like drove the house. One of the things that drove the fucking housing market up to the fucking roof is all the people arguing with each other in litigations and trying to get, we need more government involved if that'll fix it, you know. And that costs money. What would be like if you, what would be a good analogy for this? It'd be like, shit. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and compare a slumlord owner to, say, a drug dealer or something. If you want to take it that far, I think it's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on the person, I guess. But basically, you know, in the past, you wanted to buy some weed from your dealer, you'd go there with the dealer, and you'd be kind of sketchy, dogs barking at you, all this kind of. And the renters basically bitched about having to deal with this stuff, so they're like, we need to hire these people to come in as a go-between, and then the renters was like, yeah, we should hire people to come in as a go-between. So it builds up this whole fucking group of people that didn't need to have to even exist or be there involved in the transaction. So now it's like you've both got your team of guys now working for you to handle the transaction, and you're paying for your guys' team and their guys' team because they're the owner of the product that you're trying to rent. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why your rent is so high. A big reason. And the housing thing is a lot of that has to do with the repeal of Glass-Steagall and big corporations and investment interests getting involved in the real estate market. I don't know, I'm trying to. I gotta get out of here. I want to find somewhere that's not so fast paced. I think I want to get to like the South or something. I've heard good things about it. I don't know how much is true, what's good or bad about it entirely, but I mean, some people in the South want to get the heck out of there, might hate it, you know, but I think, I don't know. I guess the grass is always greener on the other side, maybe it seems like, from wherever you're at. And when you've been in a place for too long, it's like the place is haunted. You carry around the ghost of Christmas past with you, and you gotta get the hell away from it. That's all your past Christmases were happy. Or even if they were, you know. Don't want to be stuck in the same place forever. Especially when the place isn't the place you know, it's not the same anymore. I guess it kind of makes me think of this picture that I saw. I was looking at pictures of liminal spaces, and one of them said something like, "Oh, you can go back in time, but nobody's there anymore." You know. Yeah, that'd be alright. Free housing. Yay! Yeah, right? Really pop back and forth or whatever. Alright, everything's free back in time. Get the DeLorean. Fuck yeah. I mean, it'd be lonely. We could just go gather resources from back in time. Yeah, if there was nobody back in time, but you could just go back there and gather resources and, like, live there and then step out of your door into the fucking whatever other time you wanted to be in where the people were there. That'd be right, yeah. You wanted to be around the people. I don't know, man. I just want to live. I don't have to deal with so much bullshit all the time. Just to be able to fucking live. Like to be able to enjoy whatever I have left of my life. Not have to be stressed out all the fucking time about everything. And nice if I had some comfort. Some decent human treatment. Relationships and shit in my life, you know. At least have a freaking dog, cat, and stuff. I guess I could have a dog or cat, but I'll tell you the truth. I fucking live in a little apartment, and I gotta go out and work and I'm by myself. So I was like, I don't want to. As much as I need, like, it really is like a, I guess like a service animal to comfort me or whatever kind of thing. At the same time, it's like, yeah, it's a responsibility. You gotta take care of the animal. You should be there for them and not just leave them alone all the fucking time. And gotta go to work. You just run around crazy in this little fucking tiny apartment all day, flipping on things. All right, I'll be back later. All right. I have a freaking, like a house, some land, a yard that the dog can go run around in, or the cats and so on can walk out the little dog door or whatever and go out in the yard, you know. That's when you have a dog and cat and so on. You just keep the animal locked up in some tiny little apartment or something with a bunch of cars flying around and there's shit all day. Like, it seems too much like you're putting them in a prison or something. If you leave them wander around, they're in danger, basically. And if I'm being completely honest, forming a bond and a connection with a pet or something, I mean, it can lead to more pain and suffering, to be honest. I mean, I guess that's true of anything, but the bond with a person. Yeah, it's a lot more likely a person's going to be with you for more years of your life than some animal you have around. You see, I guess I used to be, and I still am someone who really loves animals. Always was. I always had, I mean, when I was a kid, I always had a bunch of pets. I always had, you know, had birds in the house, cat, dogs, I usually had a hamster or gerbil or something, and had frogs and newts, and I always run and play with the animals and stuff. But it's like as I got older, once I got to the age of like a teenager and was living with my mom, like ever since then, I've always been the one that had to go dig the hole in the yard and bury them. I've always been the one that had to go, fight off a dog that was going after a cat or whatever and carry the bleeding cat away and not be able to save it, and all these things. I've had to watch a bunch of animals die just like I had to watch a bunch of people die, and it's just, I guess it's hard to make connections, and you like to hope and think that people are going to be safer and stick around longer than an animal. I don't feel like these cities are fucking safe. Hardly anywhere. And this way of living isn't right. Isn't anything close to natural. We've just been kind of trapped into this mode of living. I don't know, man. I want to go back. I want to go live in Mayberry or freaking, little house on the prairie, basically. Sounds pretty good to me. Pretty close as that as I could get, just about. I don't know, this is all... The housing thing is fucked, man. A lot of things are screwed up in this country, not just in this country, but around the world and a lot of places. But I can't speak as forthrightly about other places because there's only so much I can really figure that I actually know about those places because I haven't lived there. That was what I hear, and don't personally know people in those places personally. Oh, sorry, some Western in the background. Jimmy Stewart gets this guy because that other guy's like cracking a wall that the dude gets distracted. Anyways. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about what to do. Gotta get out of here. I'm getting burnt out with freaking DoorDash. And all these damn holidays fucking tear me up because I don't have family around that fucking care about me. Just had like went through Christmas and I just went through Thanksgiving and Christmas anniversary of my mom getting taken to the hospital, followed by Valentine's Day alone, followed by my birthday turning 40 alone. All that in a fairly short span of time. Plus just feeling aggravated. Made me want to drink. I guess I don't know. I think I probably would do better if I didn't spend so much time with my thoughts or whatever. Ain't no way to do that except to just go into like a almost like zombie mode or something. It's like lowering of my consciousness, basically. I have to lower my consciousness to get out of. Well, that's not. No, okay. There's different ways of getting out of your head. You can, but what's in your head might still be there. You know. The way most people succeed at getting out of their head is just to kind of zone out, hyper focus on a thing, this thing or that thing, one thing at a time. Like a job or whatever the hell, and pour yourself into that. Focus on it. Keep your head on. I mean, it helps. I imagine it would be helpful to, as far as like for your own mental health and to keep yourself from freaking out, going insane. If you can manage not to like just convince yourself to believe all the lies that were being told by the televisions and so on and so forth, so that you can feel more comfortable and safe, like there's not a bunch of people out to get you all the time. And to be more trusting and let yourself be easier to dupe or whatever. A lot more comforting. Except then you buy into the scare tactics thrown at you by the people you trust. That's the problem. Not based in truth. Well, I mean, I can imagine. I can certainly see what's attractive about believing that we have all these people out there that are on our side fighting for us, and we're part of a big team, and this guy is our quarterback on our team, and we're big and strong, and all, you know. Well, obviously, like that's. Tribalism at its best, what it always used to be, but it's just if it isn't real, based in truth, then believing the lie that it is not helpful, you know. Now see where the heck I set down my other vape thing. Maybe I left it in the car. I went to take out a big bag of laundry and cans. Go get water. I felt so lazy I didn't want to even go get water. I was like out of water. Like I don't want to sit here. You know, I didn't want to sit here and just fucking. And I was out of bread too. With these freaking like brats to eat. I didn't want. End up paying $3.50 for a loaf of fucking super cheap ass like white bread. Ridiculous. A couple rolls of paper towels and some water and cheapo bread that's almost $4 for a loaf of it. Didn't even have hot dog buns for the brats that I had. I didn't want to drive further and like go fucking shop around. I just wanted to grab fucking water and I'll deal with more shit tomorrow. So I should be out working more, but I mean I can pay my bills for this month are already paid, and I can cover bills for this month too, like already, and then some. But like, yeah, the more money I save up, the more I have to be able to try and move forward with plans to. It's hard to plan things and move everything and do, I can't do 10 things at once, or it's just. Or at least it's a lot more of a pain in the ass to do 10 things at once when you're living in the way I'm living in like an apartment or something. Like I don't have a washer and dryer here to just do my laundry in the middle of the night I don't want to. And honestly, I probably I have to go to a laundromat, pump quarters into shit to do the laundry, and if I want to wash the car, I gotta drive somewhere where there's a car wash and pump quarters or however whatever into that. There's not even one in the fucking town I'm in now because it's been closed for like a year. Car's all fucking filthy again. Just so many fucking expenses. Bills, bills, bills. Doing it by myself and my thought is I should get the fuck across the country basically, right? Somewhere down south or something maybe. You gotta go pretty far away from this fucking area, I think, to find somewhere where it might actually be affordable to live, more affordable to live. But I mean, I'm sure there's reasons why people move the hell out of there in the first place, you know? Maybe fucking economy's fucked or something. So it's like, I just like to be able to get somewhere where I can have a little more fucking peace of mind. I mean, I'm a grown ass man, fucking about 6'3", 220 something. The place I'm living, like, I don't even hardly feel safe. I don't even feel all that safe going to my fucking going to hop in my car after dark and stuff around here, man. I mean, I feel like I should be fucking packing or something at because this place, it's just. I guess that's probably true just about anywhere though. But no, I mean, there's places in this country where people, there's places in this country that are just pretty laid back and slow going from what I've heard, and there's not so many scumbags walking around everywhere, both strung out on meth and all this shit, and there's just people feel more safe, and I've heard of places people still leave their doors unlocked and stuff like that. The area I'm in now, man, was so different. Just like 20, hell, 30 years ago. Go back to when I was like 10 years old or something. It wasn't uncommon to see like this place was so, people were more trusting. There was way less crime, less drugs everywhere. It was more affordable. You'd see freaking like dudes like pull it up to the front of the convenience store. They would just leave the fucking windows rolled down with like a rifle in the back window of their car and a pistol on the fucking dash, keys in the ignition with the engine running, walk in the store and buy themselves a 6-pack and a pack of cigarettes or something and bullshit with the person behind the counter for 10 minutes and walk back out and nobody touched any of their. You could ride your bicycle somewhere and just lean it up against a post and take off for a half hour, an hour, and come back and it was still there. People leave their fucking doors unlocked at night. Kids could walk down the fucking street, by themselves for miles and be fucking fine, basically. It's a different world now, man. Or at least around here and around a lot of places, I guess. I mean, my childhood was probably more of a more country version of like Stranger Things. Actually. And then as I got older, I woke up in the upside down, and here I am still, and I don't know how to get back out. And I'm trying to battle the freaking mind flayer and the gorgons and shit to find a safe place to live. Middle Earth has been overrun by orcs, the Urukai. Mm-hmm. You must throw the rings of power into Mount Doom. Cast the precious into the fire. The precious. Mm-hmm. Basically, So, yeah. I wish this stinking thing had a function that I knew about. If it